from Not Your Average Netizens podcast. And this is the Not Your Average Netizens live watch of Chicken Noodle Soup. And I'm not here by myself. I'm joined by my three regular co-podcasters here tonight. Jimin.
Oh, I'm first this time. Hi.
Jay.
Hello.
Nat.
Hola.
And a very special guest, Stitch from Twitter, aka Xena.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. Xena has done a lot of really interesting deep dives into fandom and K-pop fandom, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of interesting things to say about what's going on in this video that we are going to be watching very soon. So, before we start, who here has watched the video already?
Me,
I have.
unfortunately.
I haven't yet.
I have not. I would not outside of this, to be honest.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah, I've watched pieces of it. I've kind of resisted from watching the whole thing. So about three of us, 2.5, are looking at this with fresh eyes. And we are going to basically watch this together, comment, and then afterward kind of give our commentary post-watch. Any thoughts before we go into this? Take the jump?
Something should be left alone, and this is one of them. You can see I have high hopes for this.
Anything else? All right, let's get it started. I'm just gonna pull up the video and then we will watch.
I don't prefer soup of the chicken noodle variety personally.
Really? That's like one of the best ones. What's your favorite type of soup?
I haven't put that much thought into soup, to be honest. I just know I don't like chicken noodle.
I love chicken noodle.
Okay.
Lentil.
Italian wedding soup.
What is that?
You know, I think that
It's
was
like
good on the Cooking
meatballs.
Network.
It's really good. It's like a light and fresh soup. I've made it like 4 times. It's the only soup I can make.
Okay, I'm not going to do an attempt. I like gnocchi soup.
Ah, that's good.
So there you go, Nat.
Okay. Interesting.
What's in the Italian wedding? Oh wait, is what are their names? Rebecca and J Hope. Are they on their screen yet? Oh, okay. Well, what's in the Italian wedding?
So the way I do it, I do pork and beef meatballs, chicken broth, spinach. There are tiny noodles. I either use orzo or the little round ones that look like macaroni noodles cut into little pieces. And I basically pretend I'm an Italian mom in the 1920s, which is a weird thing to do, but I don't care. It's valid. And it makes good soup.
No judgments.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Well, thank you for the recipe. At least it was definitely better than chicken noodle soup.
I have to agree.
Okay.
Now I want soup.
Get some. Jay, are you?
I'm telling you, when you count all this paper, I mean, you just get allergic to all the pour. My bad. I'm back.
Oh, I knew Ash was kicked out. I knew something happened. Okay, how do we just? She said, "Can someone at me?" I was kicked out. How do you at people?
Let's see. Leave studio share settings, mute. Wait, who was the second person in?
Me. Oh,
Me,
hi.
Wait, hello?
Oh,
Wow.
hey.
Hi.
Okay, sorry. I thought I was kicked out
Comebacks.
like for real. Okay. Ooh, okay. Sorry, guys. This is a work in progress, and this is our first time doing this, so.
Honestly, this
All right.
is pretty good. You know,
Okay.
only one error.
Is this a live stream?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, can you guys see the YouTube video?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Awesome sauce. All right. So, we are about to watch Chicken Noodle Soup.
Yes.
All right.
Get your popcorn.
Popcorn chicken.
I heard that.
Wait, I can't hear anything.
I hear
Am I-
anything. Maybe that is a blessing in disguise.
Wait, you can't hear anything?
No, I can see it, but I
No.
can't hear it.
Yeah, I can't hear
Hold
it.
on.
Well, in the meantime,
Yeah.
maybe we can entertain our streamers.
Yeah.
Wait, I've got it. I've got it, you guys.
Okay, perfect.
Start
All right,
over.
we'll have-
Let's start over.
We're ready.
Okay, we're ready. All right.
Why is it going in slow motion?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
I let it rain, I clear it out. I let it rain.
Can you turn up a little bit, Ash?
Yeah.
I let it rain, I clear it out. I let it rain, I clear it out. Chicken noodle soup, chicken noodle soup, chicken noodle soup with the soda on the side.
Hey, they didn't do the soda on the side part.
Chicken noodle soup with the soda on the side.
I'm already over this. Oh my god.
Her hair looks really soft, and I know that's a weird thing to zero in on.
I think this hair works for J-Hope.
Better than the other hair he has in this video.
That's for sure.
What does he know about thuggin'? Let's be real.
Oh, he said thuggin'?
That's what I thought he
Oh.
said.
Oh, because the lyrics had disappeared. So I was like, okay, this I don't understand. This breakdown.
They gotta have something for her to do.
What? Where's all the cargo on those? This looks like it was made in you guys know that app that you can make like CG or CG stuff.
Like, he's having fun.
Oh
She can't dance. What's going on there?
yeah. I wish I could understand Spanish
I mean,
You know what's
beyond
weird?
what I learned in Spanish. class.
This song wouldn't be so bad if it was like an original song. Like it's not
Like it
great.
just wasn't chicken.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone earlier about that. Like, it would be better if they had just if he'd just done a cover dance, like a dance cover,
Yes.
showing his love of the song, like a Bangtan bomb, and then just done something with Becky G that celebrated their cultures coming together as opposed to ours.
Yes.
I've been waiting for something that actually like would make cultural references to like their own culture for a long time. I don't think I'm ever gonna get it.
What is going on right now? Like
A lot.
She is walking or in a Tumblr girl outfit,
I'll allow
walking
it.
very aggressive.
These people.
Where did
working
the
all
audio
hard.
come from? I mean, where'd the audio go? I said, where'd the audio come from? Okay, can somebody refresh my recollection? Did in the original Chicken Noodle Soup, I know I watched the video the other day, but did they actually like do the chicken wing things? Because I don't think they did that. I think that was something they made up in there in the dance.
I think so,
Like this
because
part.
I think
And
they
then
added
it's-
their own stuff.
Is that the hair? Oh, unfortunate.
I mean, you know,
there's something really, really egregious about this very black song having an Asian and a white Latino at the face of it. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Like just looking at it now with all the black people in the background, like,
Yeah.
Okay,
oh my
so I
god.
have a whole thing about how how she in the beginning when she was singing, she was talking about home, and it's like that idea of home being what is home for you guys, right? Why isn't home your home? Why is it literally this representation of like our home as Black Americans?
See, look, we're all family, guys. We're all family.
Mm.
There's something, well, for me, I think there's something a little like manufactured about the whole challenge aspect. Like a challenge is supposed to be natural. Like when Shiggy did the Shiggy challenge for Kiki, Do You Love Me? I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of that song. But when he did that, it was like Shiggy doing it. It wasn't Drake like starting the challenge and then like spreading it. Challenges are supposed to be natural, and that's just like it just takes away the fun out of it. If it, you know, people even like even if somebody did like it, it kind of takes away the fun out of it that you're trying to like market the dance and market the every. I don't know. It's just that's just me.
I mean, it definitely is manufactured. It's not like I don't think it's super specific to like K-pop any more than this is manufactured in general, but a lot of attempts at going viral because I work in marketing actually. So some of our clients are like, we want a viral video, and they do their best to get one, and it's like, we can't make you a viral video. Your content just has to be good,
Exactly.
you know.
Right.
So they have by virtue of the amount of fans, and then the fact that J-Hope's a really good dancer, you're gonna get people feeling like they want to be included, and even if it's not as organic as some challenges have been, it'll pick up steam, and people will forget that it's not organic, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just on the merits of this being a song, how do we rate it? Just on the level of it being a song that J Hope from BTS and Becky G have put out.
Are we doing one by one?
Yeah, we can go around. Jay, you want to go
Yeah.
first or last? Because you seem like you have stuff to say.
I hate it. I hated the original. Original was dumb too, but
No, it was
this is
really, wasn't it like a
dumb.
meme song? Like I remember it being a meme song.
Looking back on it, yeah, but it's still dumb. I mean, this is like
Yes.
it's just dumb, and almost I don't understand. Out of all the songs that came out around this song did or like the style that they picked this one, like I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't come up with something different. I mean, Chicken Noodle Soup works more for Becky because she has that song called Shower. Again, that's a dumb song, but
It is a dumb song.
it's dumb,
Y'all
but
know
it's
this
cute.
girl?
Becky G, yeah. She's
My nieces love her.
See, that's something that's
she,
something for the kids.
and she does a lot of reggaeton too, right?
Now she
What?
does.
Yeah.
I do not know this one.
Yeah, I love her.
No.
Yeah,
I actually
but
love the song she does with Leslie Grace. What's that song called? Oh, sorry.
oh my gosh, I think I know it. I think I know what song you're talking about. Yeah, but this song works more for Becky G because originally that's like what she was. That's like her style. Now J Hope not so much because he was BTS first debut. They want to be fake hip hop and all that. So it really doesn't work for him. And then his verses and what he was, no, just no. So yeah, it should have just left this alone. Pick something else. Yeah.
Okay. Jimin, you want to go next?
Oh, I thought Nat was going next.
I can go next.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember when the song came out, and I remember it felt like it was more for the kids because I was a little bit older when it came out. And it was cute, but it wasn't exactly groundbreaking. I don't know. Like as Jay said, it was like a meme. It was cute. It was kind of silly. I didn't really read into it. I still don't really know much to read into it. But when I heard they were redoing it, it was kind of odd. I think like I understand that J-Hope has this love for the song because it was like I guess the first one he listened to that he started dancing to or something like that. That's what his fans keep saying on Twitter, anyways. So I kind of understand. And I mean, yeah, and if you love something, you want to appreciate it. But as we were talking before, Zena mentioned, like, why don't you do a cover, like a dance cover? Why do you have to redo, like, kind of redo the song? And in the same way, also, like, whitewash it, kind of, in a sense. It kind of reminds me of, like, the Harlem Shake, when all the white peoples were doing it. You know, like, it just seemed unnecessary. And how many times do we have to come on the internet and say, stop stealing our shit, because you know that the world's gonna put your face in front of it, even though technically it's not technically not stealing. It always feels like it's stealing, because Black people never have a chance to succeed with these things. It's always like somebody else who's, you know, white passing, or like a different race or whatever comes up and they do the same thing and they become the face of it, and people act like they created it and everybody wants to throw money in it now. And it's just like, it's just unfair, and it's just really frustrating. And I know that the girl and the DJ Weber who did the original one, I know that they got paid, right? So they're like, great.
Yeah.
And you know what? I will say that I appreciate that they actually paid them beforehand, and they're apparently they're getting cuts of the royalties. So keep streaming it, because that puts money in her pocket too. But also, you know, Black people have a right to have different, conflicting, nuanced feelings about this. And what really annoys me about the conversations is there's a lot of non-Black people trying to tell Black people how to feel, because they love J-Hope and they don't see anything wrong with it. Well, you know what? It's none of your goddamn business. So why don't you keep your opinions about how Black people should feel to yourself, and let us continue to speak out against, you know, a lot of this type of behavior that we see. I don't know. I don't know if I would classify it as anti-Blackness, but it kind of feels like that in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's
like,
sort of
you
how I
mean in
feel on it.
regards to the video itself, or like how people are approaching
Are approaching it. I don't really have a problem with the song. Like, the song, as I said, the song doesn't actually sound bad, except for the chorus, actually. That's the worst part of it, because in my head I keep hearing the original and I'm just like, this is nothing kind of compared to it. But the verses, like, his rapping isn't bad. Becky G is kind of random. I don't know. I don't think her singing parts were necessary.
Yeah, they were not necessary.
No. But he did a good job. You know, he did what he needed to do, and I guess what he is known for doing. So I don't know, it's forgettable. I mean, you know how I feel about K-hip hop anyways. It is what it is. So
I have so many thoughts on K-hip hop.
I actually generally don't like it. Like, I mean, if I like a K-hip hop song, it's very, very, very rare for me, because I'm just like, what's the point? What are you even rapping about? Like, you know what your culture is? Like, why are you out here acting like a thug, like you shooting up at schools and stuff? Like, calm down.
There's a group. there's a duo who just had something come out maybe end of August, beginning of this month, and their cover for their EP is like basically straight out of Soul. It's like the most derivative shit. And this was when I was coming off of working on my cultural appropriation essay, and I was talking about like just like tearing into TK Park's whole argument that like that Korean hip hop isn't derivative in any way. And it's like, it's so derivative that there's like a trackable time between when there was a period where, according to like some of my friends I've talked to who are Korean, that they used to do this for fun, tracking how long it took for a song to be released here, and the beat gets reused in Korean hip hop.
Oh my gosh.
You can't say, and the whole thing is music is derivative. It's 2019. Are there any original ideas left? Probably not. You know, there are only so many combinations of notes that can be put together to make music.
Yeah.
And so at this point, like saying Korean hip hop is derivative, the only acceptable clapback to that is so's all music, not whatever that TK Park and other people who are like, no, this is entirely original. There's nothing derivative. It is literally a copy of a copy of a copy at this point.
Has he ever listened to Jay Park? I mean,
I think he probably loves
I
him.
feel like that's the forbidden topic on this podcast.
Look, if you ever need me to just talk shit about Jay Park,
oh
I'm
my
here.
God, yes.
We do that all the
That's literally
time.
our entire
That is my
careers.
favorite thing to do.
I was like, 'cause he'll be in Miami in November, and I was like, I could probably get into his concert
Didn't know he was
and
still
start shit.
making music. That's impressive.
Yeah,
I
he's
thought
doing
he
like
said
a
he
world
was-
tour, no?
I thought he said he was gonna stop touring here because people here don't appreciate him or something like that.
Oh man, I need to go and underappreciate him because like I wouldn't pay. Like that's the whole thing. I would never pay for a Jay Park concert.
Nope.
So like, thankfully, I know people who could probably get me in. But like the idea, like I muted him. I think I muted him. I might have blocked him on Twitter because I make sure to block people with large followings and little common sense. And just seeing him like talk about cultural appropriation
Ugh.
was like, what? Do you understand anything?
Yeah,
Is
him,
anything going on there?
him and his white homie talking about cultural appropriation.
I have that video saved as Jay Park is a bum in my reference folder for my project. Like, I can't. It's not I can't help it. I could help it. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But Jay Park, unlike a lot of rappers and idols, he has some experience with Black people, and he can use Google as his default search engine. Like he's not stuck on Naver, right? So he has options he's not taking. So like the last time I roasted him was when he was like, somebody asked him like as an idol, like, do you talk to your peers essentially about like anti-Blackness? Do you call people out? And like I could have been like, no, of course he doesn't. Why would he? But like his response was like, he didn't answer the person's question. He just made it all about like how like Koreans don't know any better and they're not children.
No.
Mm-mm.
They got that high speed internet too. Like they're in like
They really do.
6G. Like they're in the future at this point.
It's like I feel like everywhere around the world, it's like expected that people from like the US and even Europe are like expected to like know about and be sensitive to other people's cultures. But it somehow doesn't work that same way for like Korean people when it comes to Black culture.
It's infantilization, of course.
Of course. And it's interesting to tie it back to this video, how, you know, I think Jimin, you were the one who mentioned it like maybe a couple episodes ago, where in the Korean news they're talking about how like hip hop is bad and like Black culture is bad for Korea. But then
still haven't gotten a proper translation of that interview because like other people have said, so other people have watched that interview. It was like a news broadcast, right?
Yeah.
And so my friend who's been helping me with some of the histories, who's Korean, she was telling me that it wasn't so much that they said hip hop is bad, but that American music not so great.
But
so the one guy that translated it, that did the tweet.
Yeah.
I mean, well, no, I don't trust many people.
Yeah.
But I do trust her.
Okay.
I do trust her because like we've been through some shit across this project.
Oh, okay. Well, then, I mean, even so, like, for them to say, like, American music is bad, but then they rip off American music constantly, like, since the beginning of, like, music outside of, like, trot. And even, like, trot. And even trot, I assume.
Trot are...
See,
there you go.
Having this conversation. But I do think that's what video you're talking about, the one where they were saying, like, basically the reason why people love BTS is because they have Han, which is
Yeah.
soul basically. And they were saying that they basically take like ratchet music and make it better. And that's kind of
Like,
like
I mean,
the
the
gist
video
of
was
what
still
she
really shitty, no matter what.
said. What'd you say?
It's the video is still really terrible, no matter
Yeah.
what, because it is still like this idea that wrong culture becomes great once BTS specifically does it better.
Ugh.
You know, like so they're not even saying like Monsta X has made horny country music a thing. Whatever rodeo is about.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Okay. All right.
Now I need to listen to whatever song you're talking about.
Seriously,
Wow.
I don't know if it counts as horny country music, to
I'm
be fair.
not
I've
saying
just been
that.
calling it that. But like this idea that once this gentrification of music.
Yeah.
The one article I covered in my cultural appropriation article was Chuyeon Oh. She did in 2014 a whole article about how G Dragon is like reclaiming, or what was it? I think it was reclaiming or something hip hop, and she was wrong. She called Drake African American.
No.
He's not. He's so Canadian. He drinks
Not even
maple
close.
syrup. And so her whole argument was that G Dragon was reinventing hip hop and making it better by deviating from what she called standardized norms. And there was things like saying that that hip hop videos here were full of guns and blood and naked women and blah blah blah. And like I will never get over the Big Bang video where they have a lady on a leash.
Yep.
And like
Yeah.
people keep telling me that was her idea.
Yeah.
And I have consented to some weird shit that's problematic. Like, just saying. Her opinion, her presence in that video, her consenting to being on a leash, doesn't make it any less weird and worrying that you have a brown-skinned woman of color on a leash in a K-pop video like a dog. And so the video, the article that Chuyeon does is like, she's like, there's no minstrelsy in Korea, and G Dragon would have never done blackface, and it's like, he's literally done blackface.
Literally.
Like, he has. It's a fact. And I don't know, there's this refusal to acknowledge that Korean people are people, and people make mistakes, and a lot of times those mistakes are horrifyingly anti-black.
Yeah.
And they're not mistakes.
And just as a
actually.
notice, we've covered the whole G Dragon thing and have gotten quite a bit of pushback for saying that actually that he was doing blackface, because there is a school of thought on the internet by people that have said that he wasn't wearing it as blackface. Oh my gosh, I forget.
Wait, are we talking about where he had the literal black paint on his face, or where he went as Andre 3000? Because that's the one I'm talking about. He did
Ah,
literal
okay.
blackface.
I was thinking of the black paint. Oh, the Andre
Oh yeah,
3000
I'm
thing.
still in and out about the black paint. It's never comfortable for me. I've seen it. I don't like it. You guys can get different colored face masks if that's what you're doing. But the Andre 3000 thing was the one where it's like, this is clearly blackface. He is putting on blackface to be a black person. And this happened around the time I think that O wrote her article. And so it's like, how are you missing this really big thing?
I feel like something like that is probably like, because K-pop fans tend to try and scrub things under the rug when they happen. Because I have never seen that photo, and
it's linked in my article.
Wait, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Here, you know what? I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna put a link into the live stream thingy.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying, I feel like K-pop fans scrub a lot of stuff under the rug, and that's why people don't talk about it, don't mention it. You know, let's just act like it never happened.
I've been into Korean Twitter like last week, and the amount of things, like K-pop fans as a whole, but like especially Korean fans, the amount of things that they are able to hide and withhold. Like I never really thought about like actually going to. I hate to call it Korean Twitter, but basically people who are Korean who tweet in Korean, like just the amount of things they are able to hide is like it's kind of impressive but ridiculous. Like I just couldn't imagine like protecting somebody like with my life in a sense because I like you spend a lot of your moment trying to cover things up or making sure things don't get out internationally or whatever. And like a lot of times it's the translation sites as well that are gatekeepers in
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of this. So it's like sorry, I didn't mean to like cut you guys off.
No, it's fine. And I think too, like in talking about that, when this video came out, and just in case, Jimin, did you have anything else that you wanted to add as far as about your feelings about the video?
Yes.
Okay, please.
I don't think it was okay, so okay, I'll say this. I don't think it was a bad song in terms of like the actual beat. And I always said this, I always thought J Hope was a talented rapper in the sense that he has a very unique style that I really like. Um, I don't really pay attention to his lyrics because if I feel like if you can't admit this anything, you have to admit that he's just not a good lyricist. He's just not like, and he's it's not nothing about the words he says mean anything to me. Like he's just not a good lyricist, and most people like they don't even understand it anyway. So it's like judging the lyrics is kind of a moot point with J Hope. But so that's like musically how I feel about it. I also feel like Becky G's singing parts, they were not necessary. I don't know who this young lady is. Um, I don't know if she's actually primarily a singer or a rapper. Because I mean, I've heard her name, but this is the first time I've ever encountered music by her. So I don't know if she's a singer or a rapper.
She does
I think
both.
she's both. Okay.
Yeah.
And how old is she?
Like maybe early 20s to 25, maybe.
Let's see, because
23?
that's gonna change what I say.
Yeah, Becky G is 22.
Okay,
See?
so she's 22, so she's real. She's pretty grown. Is the point? I mean, I didn't when I watched the video, I didn't get talent. You know what I mean? Like that. Like I'm not saying she's not talented. I just didn't feel like she was special. Like I wasn't blown away or anything. That's just me. I mean, everybody to each their own. But going away from the music aspect of it and the talent aspect, um, I in terms of like the cultural appropriation aspect, I know we talked about it quite a bit. Um, I don't really understand like kind of it just felt like they threw a lot of things and said what are the blackest things that happened between 2000 and 2009. Okay, let's put that all in one music video because it was like y'all was doing the chicken head but then y'all turned around to the chicken noodle soup and then y'all got the cars on hydraulics and then it's like everything that they could like scour from that time period they put it in one video, and I was just like, I mean, y'all could have just hit us like one by one with the cultural appropriation. Y'all could have slowed it down a little bit, but y'all just gave it all at once. Okay. Um, at this point, like I knew there was not going to be outrage over it. I just knew because I don't know if I feel like this is also an issue within the K-pop community, but it's like a very specific issue. It is with Black YouTubers. Black YouTubers like that do those K-pop reactions. 9 times out of 10, let's be real, they're doing it for clout. But what it's doing is when they do those reactions.
First Life.
What'd you say?
First Life.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
breasts.
life, Terry. When they do those reactions and they're just like acting so blown away or whatever, I feel like kind of it's kind of disingenuous. But it's also like perpetuating the issue. Not saying I know that not every Black person has to be offended. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like I feel like they're downplaying. Like sometimes you'll hear somebody say something, and I actually heard this. This is kind of going. I know I always go off topic, whatever. But when EXO came out with Coco Bop, and I was watching reaction videos to Coco Bop, and there were people who were like basically saying that like these were Black people who were saying that they didn't feel like other Black people should be mad and like they were going in on other Black people for being upset that Kai had dreads. And I was just like, I don't I feel like that's a huge issue in the K-pop community, where it kind of feels like there are black people who are willing to sell themselves out or sell out other black people for the approval of the majority. You know what I mean?
That's something I've seen a ton of in the past like 2 or 3 days, like followers. There aren't that many really popular Black Twitter users in Army, but the few that there are, I think they've all been like, at least initially, they've been like, "Oh, I'm not offended. This is fine." Or this isn't as bad as I thought it would be, so it's fine. And so you get the narrative that the only people who care are white people and
White people.
non-black fans of color who just want
Yeah.
to be fake woke. And it's like, no, you're seeing more of them because you guys are literally ignoring that black fans exist. Like I just did a video on Twitter like right before we started, and number one, someone corrected my pronunciation. I have speech issues. It is not my fault, but someone corrected my pronunciation. But the video was about how like there's a thread. I have screenshots and everything because I'm a nosy little shit of these people going, these are just white fans, these are antis. The one black fan they zero in on because right now there's some journalist Zach whatever, and he asked like, I'm about to talk to Hobie. Um, do you have any questions? And pretty much every single person I know went, yeah, we have a question. It's about cultural appropriation. And the algorithm has launched the top questions to the front of the line essentially.
Mhm.
And so you see all of these people who I know are people of color, many of whom are black because I know them, and some of them do have icons, are talking and they're asking these questions. And then the flip side of fandom, the translation accounts, the big named like white ladies who somehow have dominated the fandom are all like, no, these are antis. They don't like BTS. They're SM stands because we're talking about jopping, because we cannot stop talking about that ridiculous word, you know? And so we're seeing this, and then they're like, you guys, one of my white friends is talking about it, and they're like he's getting curious cat crap, like you're a white savior, you're this, you're that, and it's like I can promise you that the person who's sending that message probably isn't black, but even if they are, don't listen to them. It is the one time I will ever say don't listen to someone who's saying they're black because I was on Tumblr. I know how this works. The
Yeah.
goal is to get people to stop paying attention to black people who are critical of something and
Hmm.
to pretend that the only people who care are white so that we stop conversation entirely.
Hmm.
Like white people do not care that much about cultural appropriation. Let's be very real here.
They don't.
They
It's
just get
like,
angry whenever you mention it.
yeah,
This
it's
is what
like
they're doing
actually
now.
it reminds me so much of talking about this reminds me so much of the cupcake thing that happened a couple weeks ago. That we
Mm.
actually did talk about. You guys are gonna hear, the listeners out there, you're gonna hear about this on the next episode. But it just reminds me of that because there was someone who was claiming to be black. I don't know if that person is black. They didn't have like an avatar or anything to be able to confirm, but they were claiming to be black, and then they were saying things. Whoo, I don't even want to repeat them. Like it was those sorts of things, the things you don't want to repeat that were obviously racist, things that I feel like only somebody with like a Stormfront account would say about black people. And they were saying these things about Cupcake, and they were saying, "Oh, it's okay because I'm black." And then you
Mhm.
saw like white fans using that as saying, "Well, this is how this one random black person feels about it, alleged black person feels about it. So that therefore, whatever you say is invalid because this one black person is okay with
Oh, it's killing me. Like people are out here, like some podcast with like 400 followers that is not, I've never heard of them in terms of K-pop, right? So they're completely out of the blue here. Is getting hyped up. The last time I checked the video last night, the video on Twitter had like 12,000 views. And they're like, it's a bunch of black guys. No offense to black guys. I have 6 brothers, but they are hashtag the weakest link when it comes to these things. So they're all like, this isn't cultural appropriation. This is actually appreciation. And it's like, yes, in appreciating a culture, to the point where you kind of don't care about the people you're appreciating, it becomes appropriation.
Yeah.
But the comments underneath are all of these non-black fans and a few black fans going, "Oh yes, thank you so much for supporting Army. You're so great for understanding. I knew this wasn't inappropriate because J-Hope would never." And like endlessly, like this fandom is purposefully choosing which black voices are worth listening to.
Yeah.
And it is not people even mildly critical. Like I'm not even hypercritical. Okay, I am technically hypercritical, but I've said worse things about Namjoon, and that's like my bias. I love one weird like I roast him for his hair on a regular basis.
You
Like
know what? That is so funny that you say that because um we had a conversation. I don't remember if this was a private conversation we had or one on the episode where basically someone told me that like I can't stand Blackpink. and, and it's funny because while the like I don't think it's not that I can't stand Blackpink, but I do roast them. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
like for example, I consider like if I roasted this video the way I roast like Blackpink for being lazy or untalented, or Red Velvet for being lazy, or the way I roast like I don't know, Big Bang for I just don't like Big Bang. That's just me. Like YG for
I
existing. You know what? I think that's what it is. Anything associated with YG, just for some reason. If I really like went in like y'all would hate me a lot more than what y'all do. Y'all really think we hate BTS? We do not hate. Well, I can't speak for everybody. I don't hate BTS. I actually, if you listen to our next episode, our upcoming episode, you will learn that I think I have a new bias.
I will raise my hand to that too. I know next to nothing about them, but I apparently have something for long hair.
Yeah, me too. Put it like that. Like I mean, look, it is what
I
it
feel like
is. Stan
you
Jungkook.
can't
I mean, just come on now. But
he's so fluffy.
honestly,
Ugh. 90s heartthrob right there.
Yes,
Ugh.
that's totally 90s
and
hair.
you know
Yeah,
what? You
like
know what it is? It's the fact that like not only is that hair working, I feel like his whole thing, like his whole like I'm kind of emo, but like at the same time
Yeah.
I'm chill. Like that works for me for some reason. It doesn't seem fake. It seems like that's who he really is, like emo and just kind of like chill. And I don't know. He just seems like a real person to me. So I don't know. He's easy to like, and that says a lot because when I first like heard of BTS, I did not like him. I actually thought like I actually didn't understand his hype. I was like, why do people like him when Tay is
oh,
really attractive? Like he's
okay.
extremely
I
attractive.
love Tay.
Yeah.
See, ugh, my journey to BTS should get its own episode that then would get y'all a lot of shit because it's hilarious. But like the whole thing is that like BTS is really great and still we can talk about them. Like that's the whole thing. I've never understood people in different fandoms, not just K-pop, like the Star Wars fandom does it too, where like someone saying like off in the distance, I don't like this thing about your thing triggers like waves of harassment.
Right. And
And
the funny thing is BTS themselves, like in their most recent thing, like I think it was Namjoon, he made a comment where he was like, I feel like we never can judge how good we are because our fans are always telling us we're perfect. And so
look, let me tell you your shit.
hear criticism because their fans are always telling them they're perfect. And I'm like, y'all are looking at their own fans then because I'll tell you
Yes,
what
they are.
Charlie Puth cannot be out singing you on anybody's stage. That shouldn't be happening. There's no excuse for you to be getting out sang by Charlie Puth. I'm sorry, that man cannot sing. So that's just my opinion. Sorry, Charlie Puth stands. But
No, I don't like him. I don't like him at all.
okay.
Like, look, I've already like, and my whole thing is like talking shit, like in an academic and accessible manner, but it's talking shit. I'm the youngest of like a bajillion kids. My life exists to talk shit. Like, kind of my thing. And so like I was already like, oh, I've left the Star Wars fandom. It's incredibly anti-black. I mean, I told y'all about the shit I was getting. It's not great. And then I decide I'm going to like stop being a filthy casual K-pop fan and like deep dive into not just all of K-pop, because I really do like I'm a filthy multi, but Army in particular. Like I'm like, oh, I am part of this. And then like to be reminded very loudly that no, I am not has been a thing this past week. Like, what? They're so mean. And like I get way less than pretty much anyone because if you look at my profile on Twitter, I don't ping as Stan Twitter. You know, I don't. My background for my header is Moon Girl from Marvel Comics. Yeah, I'm wearing a BT21 shirt that I spent way too much money on, but like
I mean, those
I'm
little things are
still
cute. Oh.
they're so cute. I love them. I've spent so much money at Hot Topic that they know me by name, unfortunately. So but yeah, like so since I don't ping as Fanish because they're looking at the combination of my header and my profile picture and like seeing this black face, I don't get as much shit as people are getting. Other black fans who are active in the fandom are getting. But it's still like it's happening a little. Like I know it'll pick up more because more people are recommending that people read my content. They're sharing the YouTube video I did on hair, the cultural appropriation in hair in particular. And I think a few days ago, I literally was like, if I'm going to keep doing this, if I'm going to keep actively being critical, I need to just like kind of own it and like prepare for the fact that a lot of people in and out of like so Korean fans aren't going to like me, American fans aren't going to like me, US fans aren't going to like me, even though I really love BTS. I've never had a tattoo in my life and I'm going to get, you know, words from Dionysus tattooed on my body.
That is dedication.
It's really good and I like drinking. So it's yeah. So I don't know. I have so many thoughts, and like I don't even know. I wanted to do a video for my website, as opposed to just getting really angry and kind of tipsy and making videos, which is what I've been doing, and talk about this because like there are people who genuinely don't understand, you know, who for some reason have missed the fact that Black people are mistreated for having hair. Period. Hair.
Yes,
But then
like,
there's
You think that
this
they're
just reminds me
missing
of
it?
over the past. Sorry.
I don't know. I was just like, do you think that they're missing it, or that they're like purposely like they just don't give a shit? So it's like
so I've gotten like 2 messages so far from people who were like, I didn't think this through, you know, kind of hearing your videos and reading your articles made me think of this in a new light, so I understand it better. Like this isn't a struggle I personally have, but I can understand it better. So I've had people reach out and be like, whoa, this is eye-opening. I even had on YouTube, I've gotten one new comment and it's from another Black person. She's like, I'm Black and I didn't realize this. I didn't think about this.
There are some Black people who don't think about that until maybe even until they're faced with a situation where, like the one girl who was bullied was she bullied? It was some situation where these white boys, it's like a gang of white.
Oh, and then
cut off her dress.
Karen Pence's school, and then now they're like, she's recanted. I wonder why a young Black girl at school that the vice president's wife teaches at may have recanted.
Yeah, come on now. And then
yesterday
about the boy who the wrestling match. The referee told him to cut his dreads off in the middle of the and the thing is like that's just the way the hair grows. Like obviously if you get locked up, you know, I shouldn't say locked up. If you get dreadlocks, it is a style, but it's also part of like the way the hair grows. It's kind of like if a person would put their hair, like a white person just put their hair in like pigtails or something, like straight pigtails. I don't know. I guess the way I'm trying to explain it is like it's not like it's something like a mohawk with like green and blue colors. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
not obviously not natural. It's just like something that you do with your natural hair, and then you get punished for it, even though it's yours and it just grew out that way.
But
So
it's
for
also like religious for Rastafarians. Like they
yeah,
do that
that's
for
yeah.
religious purposes. So it's not just like a hairstyle. Like some people do it for the style, some people do it for protective styling, and then there are people who do it for religious reasons. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Are we gonna start
And
like appropriating like other religious things? You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
way we do
Yeah.
locks, like hijabs or something. Not saying we should. That's not what
Like-
I'm saying at all. Because obviously there's Black Muslims as well. But what I'm saying is like it's clearly got significance. It's not just something random that like, you know what I mean? Somebody just like pulled out of nowhere. I don't know how to explain it. It's not inappropriate. It's just something that it is what it is, you know? So for people to take it and sort of trivialize it and make it like into a costume, that's the problem.
yeah, I mean, in New York, didn't they just have to pass a law where organizations and businesses could not discriminate, sorry, against Black people who, I guess, you know, were wearing their natural hair naturally.
I'm not sure if that was New York or
can wear that
California.
afro.
California
It was-
definitely passed it as law.
Yeah.
I don't know if New York also did that.
Yeah, I don't know where exactly. I thought it was in New York, but it was kind of crazy because it's like, so that's why every time this comes up, and you know, especially non-Black people who have so much to always say on this subject, I'm just like, it's funny you guys have all this shit to talk, but Black people get fired. Black people can't go to prom. Black people can't do things because they're being pinned down on the ground by white kids who are cutting their hair. And it's, you know, you guys want to say it's just hair because you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And
Could
just
you
like
imagine
most
somebody
Black,
doing it to your straight hair, white
Yeah.
people for a second? Like, not trying to just be real for a second. Could you imagine, like, somebody telling you that the way your hair naturally grows out of your head is inappropriate for your office environment or your school environment, and it's distracting the other kids?
Mhm.
and then like the whole, like, not only that, but it's always a part of a bigger conversation. And that's where this is why I don't have any conversations with anybody who's not Black about this subject, because honestly and frankly, your opinion doesn't matter. It has no relevance. And it doesn't affect you. So for the most part, you don't care.
So let's touch on that a little bit. So
Yeah.
do we think that what was going on in this video was appropriation?
Let's talk about that.
I said before, it felt like it, even though it kind of didn't. It was I feel really conflicted about it.
Yeah.
Mostly because I can't define exactly, like I look at it and like if I attach it to the larger conversation about the appropriation of Black music, you know, it definitely fits in there. But at the same time, I don't think what J-Hope did in this video, or I'm not even gonna talk about Becky G, because I just thought she was like irrelevant, to be honest. The whole thing.
The whole thing was just like not even about her.
Yeah, exactly. But outside of his hair and those twists, those gel twists, which I mean, we understand. I don't know. It could have been noodles. It could have been something else. I don't know. But I don't think he went into this thinking like,
I hate Black people.
Well, I mean, I don't think they ever go into. I mean, not ever, but like for the most part,
like there are a few that I think.
Yeah. But there's a carelessness that a lot of these people go into these things with, and ignorance that they go into it with. So I feel like that definitely is in place, especially since he has not talked about any of the valid criticism about it. But I personally don't think he is a bad guy in this. I feel like he did go into this thinking, I love the song, you know, it means a lot to me, so I'm gonna, you know, show my love for it and make some money. And he did reach out to DJ Weber, and I can't remember the girl's name. I apologize.
Bianca something?
Yes, Bianca something. Sorry.
Nothing. Nothing.
Oh, sorry.
Love hip hop, Bianca.
Yes. But he reached out to them and they paid them. And that is frankly a lot more than a lot of people have done.
At the same
So
time, I'm not giving you credit for doing something that you really
should have done.
Should.
So
One thing.
exactly. So like here's the thing. I don't think that J-Hope went into this all evil fingers, villainous, like whatever. I don't think he did, but I think that his response, which was silence, speaks louder than anything else that has happened so far. And his silence over his fans and the fandom's reaction is also speaking volumes on, where he stands in all of this. And where he stands is he doesn't give a shit. So that's how I feel on that.
Wow, yeah, Nat, you always put into words the things that
Yeah.
I'm usually not even bad with words. It's literally just when it's time to record, which is like a horrible time. But you know what? I really so strongly agree with that. Like, I don't. When this first happened, I was really skeptical because when I first saw the promo pictures, I was already preparing myself right mentally. Okay, Nat. I was preparing myself mentally, and then when I actually saw it, I didn't get a malicious vibe from it. I didn't get once again, I hate black people, or even a vibe of I'm going to go into this knowing. I mean, it's weird because I wasn't around when mic drop happened, but a lot of people who were on the side of this was wrong or whatever were saying that he actually had backlash for his hair and mic drop. I don't know if that's true because again I wasn't around for that. But if he did, then that definitely changes the way I look at the hair situation. But the whole video in its totality, I feel like at first I didn't think it was malicious. I thought it was ignorant. I thought it was dumb. And when I say ignorant, not ignorant in the sense that he couldn't have known. Ignorant in the sense that he didn't try to know. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then as time passed, and I knew I just know he knows that people are talking about this because I've seen people Korean fans also discussing this, not how we are in the sense just it's more so discussing it they're telling their other friends that people are saying that it's cultural appropriation kind of deal. So I feel I know he's seen the discourse to some extent, either in Korean or I don't know how good his English is, but I'm assuming it's going somewhere if he's, doing all of these collabs and stuff with English speaking people. You just have to think that he knows. And so for you to just not acknowledge it at all, you're talking about this song every single day since it came out. You got people doing challenges for this song. You're doing all this stuff for this song. For you to not even acknowledge, even on your V Live that you did right after the song came out, for you to not even acknowledge it, it just kind of makes me wonder, what kind of person are you really?
If you guys remember with Bang Chan and Stray Kids, when he had his cornrows and people were talking about it and they were confronting him in the lives and they were tweeting and they were trending hashtags and stuff, literally the fandom reaction was to drown it out. But while Bang Chan is literally Australian and, he's Australian, so I think for me, the response is that silence is very telling. The silence coupled with all the content that Big Hit is putting out really, really rapidly. Yeah. Because Boy With Love came out, and then a month or two later was when we got the behind the scenes stuff. Right. And it's literally bam, bam, bam. Video, behind the scenes video, challenge,
vacation vlogs,
and I'm not paranoid enough to believe that Bang what's his face is sitting there malevolently cackling at the idea of sticking it to black fans. I'm not that paranoid, but it definitely feels some kind of way, especially because one of the constants across BTS, because I keep having to like redirect my project focus because they're one of the biggest groups, so they get a lot of the content critical and celebratory. But there's this book I'm using called Hanguk Hip Hop, which is the best book ever. I love it. And chapter 5 is about idol hip hop and authenticity, which is going to be really fun to talk about on my project. But the whole idea of BTS boils down to this dude who really liked hip hop wanted a group that emulated what it meant to be hip hop
Mm,
to the world, which is why they ended up, coming over to California to train with black people and blah blah blah. But from the start, that means the perception of blackness as it
mm.
influences their work is really problematic because you can't learn to be black from spending what 2 months in California.
Well, according to Taeyeon, you can. You can.
No.
All you gotta do is struggle like black folks, and
You need to
then
feel the pain to know what it is to be black.
That was just the wildest, like, no.
The most surreal part about that comment is that he was serious.
I
That
know.
Well, I've
Like-
seen a lot of people like that idea that like one of the privileges of being black is the suffering. Like
Yeah,
at least people are paying attention to us.
the struggle.
Oh my
I
goodness!
disagree. I
You guys
disagree
say, well,
strongly.
you just struggled so much. Like what?
And like hilariously, most of my struggles aren't actually because I'm black. They're because I have really poor impulse control, which is unrelated to me being black. Like,
What it is, and okay, I'm sorry. I just have to say this because what it is and what it boils down to is, and not saying this is what J-Hope's like thought process is. This is just like a societal issue that I think is pervasive in Korean, in all across all cultures, because there's one constant I feel in every culture, and that's anti-dark skinness, if you
Yep.
will. Even if it's not necessarily straight up anti-blackness, there's an aversion to dark skin, which most black people are dark skinned, or at least darker than the average non-black person. You know what I mean? And so what it really boils down to in terms of like, even if what they think they're saying is flattering, because I've actually, somebody tried to argue with me that something that an NCT member said was not, an NCT member said something about cornrows, and they tried to I actually forgot what he said, I just know it was messed up, and they tried to argue with me saying that maybe you just don't understand Korean culture because he was actually trying to give a compliment. And I was like,
oh, was this the thing with the reggae hair?
yes, with the reggae hair, but it's not just the fact that he says that everything that a black person has in their hair is reggae hair for some reason, but it's also like the fact that he called it like, he said it looked like a boiled octopus is what he said.
Yeah.
Which is to me an insult. It's not a compliment. But with that being said, he was saying like, oh, he says that in a friendly way, or how they say, oh, Korean people say hug nuna or hug hyung in a like friendly way. I'm like, what you're missing from that is it's dehumanizing, because it's reducing me down to one trait. It's not about if you're trying to be friendly with it. It's the fact that you think that I'm one thing. That's dehumanizing. That's like me saying, or any of us or anyone saying, reducing Korean people down to one thing, like K-pop, for example, or kimchi, or whatever the most Korean thing is you can think of. If you can't see the problem in that, you don't deserve an opinion. I don't think.
Okay, do you guys want to hear the absolutely ridiculous comment I just got on Twitter on one of my videos?
Sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was someone who corrected my pronunciation, which is so rude, on a video where I was like talking about how black people are the ones talking. So they gave me a thread. I think we are practically in 2020. Nothing belongs to one specific culture. Everything is mixed. I see a problem if it is disrespectful, or if you think why you feel, this is a really weirdly written comment, or if you think why you feel identified with certain aspects of a culture, you belong to that group. Okay. There are many Yankees who claim to be Latino because their grandma was Mexican. There is no problem identifying with the culture of Latin America. You just need to understand that doesn't make you Latino, because you will never live what you live. That's what I think, and that's why I can't understand what you say. Obviously, you have the right to feel that way. I would never say you can't do it, but I don't understand. I feel like this person is trying to say exactly what I'm saying.
I really don't know what that person
I
is
don't
trying to say.
know.
I'm gonna keep it
Like,
real with you. Like nothing that you just read to me made any sense whatsoever. And I
Yeah.
that
do roast
generally
people for not
happens.
making sense unless English is not their first language. I do roast people for not making sense if they are, like I
But
said, if English is your first language and you're an adult. I don't, and you don't have any sort of anything, mentally blocking you from learning how to write properly. I will make fun of you.
well, no, my thing was like I didn't realize that the rest of the comment derailed a bit, but that beginning, like we are practically in 2020, nothing belongs to one specific culture. When we're only like that's really the thing, not the rest of it. I'll ask them for clarification later. But that beginning, that idea that like kind of like that hip hop belongs to everyone is part of the problem
Yep.
that we're seeing, that hip hop belongs to everyone. Everyone can be hip hop. So where are black people in this equation?
Yep.
We're kind of superfluous to hip hop because everyone else can do it. So black people don't need to do it.
Everybody can be hip hop, but Lil Nas X can't chart on the country charts.
Right.
Make it
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious that they pretty much just want to take and take and take. And I feel like the best thing that we could do, obviously besides talking about it and bringing awareness of it, is banding together. And as black people in K-pop, black people in other things, like especially things like that are more niche, like sci-fi, fantasy, romance, things that we are not we're definitely just like the minority in it. I feel like if we band together and we start putting a lot more power behind these opinions, I feel like we could definitely do a lot better, or maybe change a lot of minds for the idols and their companies and things like that. I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to change the world, because let's be real, the world hates black people, but
And it's very large.
yes, exactly. But at the same time, I feel like
And we got to get some of the Omarosas and the Ben Carson.
some people you can't change. That some people are just gonna
Lost
like
causes.
like I remember when that Jackson Wang thing came out, when he had the hair, and then Ben Baller hopped on it, and like it was a big thing. And I remember, I'll never forget, there's this one GOT7 fan who was black, and she was doing a video talking about like, it's not a big deal, you guys are being stupid, blah 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 blah. And I remember just watching the video and being like, Oppa's never gonna fuck you, because frankly, you're the opposite of what what is beauty standards in Korea, first of all. Second of all, like, you're clearly just saying this because it's against Jackson. I'm pretty sure that if you were at school or you were at work and you showed up, with your fro or whatever, and they sent you home, you'd be the first one on social media talking about, oh, and black hair is this, black hair is that, they don't respect it, blah blah blah. So it's clear that you're just doing this and saying this because Oppa is, he's getting in his feelings about the situation, and there are some people whose minds you'll never change, and that's fine. You know what? Honestly, like, diversity of thought is fine, because we're not a monolith. We all have different opinions. We all come to things with different opinions, different lived experiences, and that is completely fine. I'm not trying to say that we should all like think the same and have a hive mind. I'm just saying that like things like this is what I appreciate about this K-pop and like what Stitch is doing, and like Jinja podcast, and like a lot of like what black people are doing that people seem to ignore, because we're putting our voices out there for other people to see, and we're helping to hopefully change minds, but we're also like sort of showing a united front, showing like an example of what black people can do, like when they actually do the work.
Yeah.
If that, I don't know if that's like really optimistic.
Call Quincy Jones and make a We Are the World Part 2.
But no, honestly, like I feel like, you know, it sucks, and I'm tying this all back to J-Hope because, you know, Black people, Black people around the world, not just, you know, like African Americans and, you know, Caribbeans and like Afro Latinos, like Africans, like everybody, all the Black people around the world, we're always at the forefront of trends. We're always at the forefront of creation, pretty much, in a lot of ways. And people ignore it. People call it ghetto. People call it, you know, all sorts of names until somebody else takes it up. And if you can't see, like, there are legit examples throughout history. Elvis, you know, Justin Timberlake. Like, there's so many different examples of this throughout
Justin
the world.
Timberlake, I love Black women.
Oh, that was hilarious.
So hard.
But like,
It's
there's
so
so many
crazy.
examples of this, and if you are willingly ignorant to that fact at this point, beloved, the problem is you. It's not us. It's not the people who are mentioning it. The problem is you. And I mean, you can choose to ignore it and continue to, you know, quote unquote, suck at the teat of Bang PD or these people.
That's
But
unwelcome
anywhere near
vision.
me.
Didn't want that in my mind.
But, you know, like, that's your prerogative. But as I've said before, if somebody screws up, if somebody makes a mistake, you cannot get in your feelings about people calling them out on it. You cannot, because they still did something wrong at the end of the day.
He better hope he don't suddenly get a girlfriend, because all of this protection squad he got is gonna disappear.
Well,
oh yeah, no.
Are they going to the army soon? Because like, it does seem like they're doing a lot.
Like they're never gonna go to the army.
If they don't,
well, the Korean government just said that they weren't exempt, so
yeah, there's no way.
But it just feels like we've been waiting forever for them for at least Jin to enlist.
Well, they have time. They have not a lot of time. I mean,
but
literally,
they do have time.
Well, I mean, talking about, kind of going off of what Nat said about, or what you guys were talking about, the protection squad. I was kind of interested in kind of the general reaction to the video, especially from non-K-pop fans. And we all know that it was posted on the Shade Room, supposedly by some who claim by aunties who tipped them off.
Snitches. They called them snitches.
Who tipped them off and told them.
To them. Can I just cut you off real quick? The fact that you have to refer to them as snitches lets you know that you think something was wrong with it. Because you only call somebody like a snitch if you feel like they're telling on somebody for doing something that they did wrong. So I'm just saying, armies, maybe y'all should examine that with that internal belief system.
I saw a tweet earlier that was like, oh, with the reporter that they're talking to, like, oh, you guys are setting J-Hope up to get jumped. And it's that language of like snitches, jumping. Like, what do you guys think? He's going to get off of this interview or leave his apartment and get jumped by a roving gang of Negroes in Seoul? Like,
clearly.
That's so funny.
The one black gang in Seoul.
It'll be led by Han Hyunmin, of course.
The only black person in South Korea.
Like, they are so, like, I know that they know they're wrong. Like,
with that rhetoric, that whole, oh, he's gonna get beat up. Oh my, that is so transparent.
Like, when Chenle from NCT Dream had his corners, pink corners, that was the whole thing, like, what, last month or the month before, and literally people were like, I saw someone say SM did this on purpose so that Black people would attack Chenle and destroy NCT Dream's comeback goals. And it's like, you think Black people really care about random Black people who've never listened to K-pop? Random ass Black people are going to be like, wow, this 18-year-old, we need to destroy his future?
Yes.
Time for that.
Okay, so that being said, right, I don't think it was his idea for the cornrows, and he actually said he didn't want to do it, and I believe that. But at the same time, like, this idea that like that like okay, I know that there's tensions between China and South Korea. I know that. I know that there's tensions between like when Jimin wore the atomic bomb shirt. Was it? I don't want to speak
That was
incorrectly out of turn,
ridiculous.
but he wore that. What was it?
Oh,
It was like a shirt of something very offensive to Japanese people. And so I know that there's these tensions, but I just feel like this idea that like companies are trying to sabotage people just because your fave made a mistake or there was a mistake that was made and or you know what? Okay, it's the same line of thought, right? But it's the I've actually been seeing this a lot more lately with I call it the big hit protection squad. The idea that like Big Hit is infallible. So like
which is
SM
so
stands
weird.
will be like, oh, SM made them do it, but BTS stands will be like they, you know what I mean? They'll like, it's like they cover for Big Hit. Okay, let me stop. Let me stop. I'm getting into territories I didn't even want to go into, and this is
Okay,
why.
but I will say that one of the tweets I saw right after, because like I was on the bus when I saw his hair, and like my tweets were like, "What the fuck is that hair?" I saw someone go, "Oh, the person responsible for this is oh, shit, one of the producers whose name I can't remember, but it's one of the producers' fault. It's not J-Hope," and it's like, you
Uh,
understand that adults make adult decisions, right?
yeah. It's a different situation from Chandler too because of the fact that J Hope is a full grown adult.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
don't get me wrong, Chandler. I'm still salty about that. I'm more salty about what Headchan did, but
well, I just don't think Chandler's hair looked good, and that's like another whole
yeah,
ass
it
issue
never
that
looked
it
good.
doesn't look good. Like I think the only time I've ever been like, oh, this non-black person with a black protective hairstyle looks good, and I think it was like Tiger JK once.
Who
Tiger JK.
is this a rapper?
Yeah, he's like
Yeah, Yoon Mi-dae's
huge
husband.
rapper. Huge rapper
I
in
listen
Korea.
to absolutely no Korean rap.
um,
I just
I
know him
love
because he's
him.
Tasha's husband, and he is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
As Nat said, they look like they don't bathe.
Well, okay, if you think about it, right, that hair type is not really meant for
Well,
things like locks.
I have mentally decided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. It's not excusing it. Obviously, I would never. But I was like, for my own peace of mind, for me, if I ever meet him in the future, so I don't burst out laughing, I've decided that he has weave
Okay.
because no, because like my hair locks naturally. Obviously, I've done it. It's
Yeah.
a lot, and it's still not great because my hair is weird in so many ways. So like if somebody whose hair literally doesn't do that goes through
Nope.
that.
And remember, they don't wash their hair. Eh? A lot of times they just
I know they
kinda
they
keep
just
it
let
like
it
that.
get dirty.
That's gross.
I'm like,
A lot
do
of
you guys not realize that people with like black people with locks actually wash their locks regularly? It's not.
Yeah.
They don't let it sit there and mat and then grow worms and lizards and whatnot.
Ooh.
Like they don't.
Oh,
Come on
the things I've seen white people put like peanut butter in their locks, and I'm like, do you
Are you
are you
serious?
feeding a dog with that?
Listen,
Like,
they don't bathe, so I mean,
well, like,
I mean,
Okay,
not all
I
white
don't,
when you
people,
say
but
not
that,
all, but like a
not
lot of
all, not
a lot of
all.
the people who have locks
Mhm.
have really questionable hair and hygiene practices, and it's
Yes.
part of how you keep that kind of textured.
Yep.
You destroy it.
yeah,
Yep.
Like
that's
my
true.
friend's girlfriend was like, "Oh, I want to get locks," and I looked at her and I was like, "I would die laughing at you."
We would no longer. Even Jay is snickering in the background.
Like,
Jesus, take the whale.
no, adorable little white girl. This is not your hairstyle.
No.
Let me learn to do a French braid for you.
So, do we think that this type of thing is going to continue into the future?
Yes.
Are
Yeah.
we going to see
Yeah.
another remake?
Was so successful. Yes.
Of course. They're gonna
Was it
do
success?
oh, what do you think their next like
Well, like-
remake is gonna be?
It's gonna be a Soulja Boy song.
So
Oh.
Oh gosh.
I used to. I don't care what nobody say. There was like 57 remixes of Crank That. Like for real, that was like the Old Town Road of my childhood. Like for real.
Yeah.
So I would not be shocked if that's the next artist that they're gonna target.
I'm trying to think Because remember when Drake dropped Hotline Bling and Jay Park dropped his Hotline Bling version or whatever that dumb song
I'm glad
was?
I didn't live through this memory.
It is almost, honestly, for me, it was almost identical to Hotline Bling, except it wasn't good. So
If we ever interviewed Jay Park, I would ask him like, why is he so productive?
I have never heard somebody recommend a good Jay Park song to me. Like, I don't know how he has a career.
His career is built on the back of Korea booze, like for real.
Like there are some Korean rappers that I've listened to, or Korean rappers and Korean R&B stars that I'm like, okay, this is listenable, right? Like I would just listen to one. I don't remember the yeah.
You know what? I take that back. There is a Korean rap song that I thought was a song that I could listen to. It was a song by CK, but that's it.
Well, like, okay, so I'm like kind of lightly obsessed with Zion T. I think.
Okay, yeah.
This song E, like the video kills me. I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I don't think I'm supposed to laugh at it, but he is her cell phone. He is her cell phone in that video. That kills me. But like, so there are rappers who maybe they don't get Black culture, and that's a problem. But they're not wholesale tearing it off of Black people and putting it on. Like they're not wearing a skin suit of Black culture, aka the Hannibal thing. Like you can tell when someone genuinely cares but doesn't have the range, and then you can tell when someone doesn't give a shit.
That's like the best. I love when people say you don't have the range. I love that.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's true. That's very like I can.
He's
I
trained
can
when
think
you
of
have
it
passion.
Yeah, like Suho. Like Suho, he doesn't have the range, but
Poor Suho. Poor thing. I like Simon Dominic. I don't know. I'm not really like, as I said.
I've listened to like one or two of his.
Well, you know, I said this in the episode that will be released. I don't know why I'm saying all this stuff, but this is not half the stuff I said. But I did say this. I said you know what? I did not say that in the episode. Anyway, point is, I said that I'm gonna start. Like, I really feel like this is gonna sound messed up, but I get my Black music from Black people. So
yeah, exactly.
If I'm gonna get anything from Korean people, it's either gonna be Korean music or something different that I can't get from anywhere else, or it's gonna be white music. So I would rather get my white music from Korean people than get my Black music from Korean people.
Absolutely. No, that's exactly how I feel about it too. Like that's why
that's why I'm starting to get more into some girl groups.
Yeah, I completely outright like did not listen to K-pop forever. Outside of like Big Bang, and that's not even, you know, I mean that's what it is. It's just it's a lot of it's also a lot of them
green noise
trying to be trying to be Black pretty much, but not.
You guys are gonna love when I eventually do my authenticity thing, because like one of the things I'm gonna talk about is Jessie.
Oh god.
Jessie,
okay. You know what?
like her song,
authentic. She's ratchet.
Is she authentically ratchet? Like I can't really explain it, but like
personality, she just seems straight gutter.
She needs some pants. What would she need?
She doesn't seem like she's trying to be okay. She is kind of trying to be Black in some aspects, but I think she's ratchet, which is not the same as Black. I just think she's
so in her, she's a video with JYP, you know, Big Daddy JYP, where
who's your mama?
The video where she talked about her chocolate skin. And I'm talking to someone else while I'm watching some of her other videos, and I was like, I can't tell if this is the Jersey girl, because like Snooki was about the same complexion, you know, or if this is like that attempted Blackness. But Jessie's new song, Who Dat Be?
Who Dat Be?
We watched that last week.
Yeah, so that whole thing is like she's talking about keeping it real, being authentic. Everybody hates her because she is so
real,
fresh, and she is so on point and real. And it's like, your Black scent's fake. You've talked about your plastic surgery. You've diminished your own argument for authenticity with a lot of the stuff you say about yourself. If we're keeping it real, like, what does keeping it real mean? I mean, we're all faking it. That's the only way I'll be fair. We're all faking it. But a lot of the conversation about hip hop and a lot of performances of blackness by people who aren't black, who will then unselfconsciously claim to be keeping it real. It's like, but you're faking it. You're faking all of this. What
Y'all
is
need to stay in
authentic?
day 6.
Day
Okay,
six is good.
I almost went to their concert and then I was poor, so
Oh,
I didn't
Oh,
go.
that's so sad.
I
they're
know
And
they were
really
right
good.
here in Miami.
we,
I know one
they're really
song.
talented. Who else should y'all say? Stay in Jungkook because honestly,
It's
if
the
you listen
hair.
it's the hair, but also too, if you listen to his music, it's all white people music, so you don't have to feel
So,
all.
I brought that up with one of my nieces because I was like, "Oh, well, BTS clearly like this was when I was like deep. I was like, BTS clearly loves and respects black people." I don't know where that came from when I was saying this to this child of mine, but she's like, you understand that like half the artists they talk about and share when they're not sharing Korean artists are white
Are
people,
white.
right?" And I was like, "Oh, oh." My nieces have, because they're suffering through being my unofficial research assistants for this project, make it a point to pop my bubble at every single chance they get. Like,
It needs to sound like my kind of people.
Yes.
they're hilarious. They're
But
hilarious. But I did manage to ruin Love Shot for them, so it's fine.
You know what? Saying love shot makes me so uncomfortable. It sounds wrong.
it
I did not
does.
like that song.
And the video was very suggestive.
Well, I like the my niece would do the dance, the body roll, the really,
Yes.
really one, and I would start laughing every time she did it. So now she feels uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm awful.
And has been very. And what just happened?
We lost
Oh,
Nat.
Nat. Oh, Nat.
Well, while we're waiting for Nat to come back, did you guys have any last thoughts about the video, about J Hope, about appropriation, about where J Hope goes from here, where Becky G goes from here?
Becky G will go nowhere.
I'm
She won't.
I just don't see what people see or like raving about. People were like before I had heard, like I knew vaguely who she was, and I knew people were saying, "Oh my gosh, she's so great!" Like they were talking about her like she was like I don't know the next freaking. I can't say Jennifer Lopez because Jennifer Lopez is the epitome of inauthentic and unoriginal and trash.
Yeah.
But they're
Let's
talking
not go in on her. Okay, let's not even start. We don't have the time for that.
You're right. We don't have the time, but if I could just make one small, I just want to say one thing. J Lo said the N word and nobody's talking about it.
What?
But the thing is, we
I mean,
have this.
true.
I remember when I'm Real came out and everybody was like, don't. And then Ja Rule, the idiot that he is, brought her on stage to the MTV Music Video Awards and had them both say it.
So
Oh,
I just want to shout out to all those
She was
people.
like, N-word.
Yeah, she was. She absolutely was. And
So I misheard that, and I thought y'all said J Hope said it, and I was like, when is this new?
No,
well, I mean,
So I was ready.
Jennifer Lopez, like I think she is so untalented. She is so like she's beyond reductive. I don't even have a word for her. I really think she is such garbage, like for real. Like as an artist and as a person who's supposed to be talented, she just doesn't have anything going for her to me. And I really hate what the situation with Mariah's career and how that unfortunately intersected. And honestly, it's just a whole mess. I'm so sorry for gritting on Jennifer Lopez, and I'm sorry for if anybody in this group right here is a J Lo stan.
Nope.
I need to let y'all know that our girl is trash. So
You're not going to go see Hustlers then?
well, Lizzo, I like Lizzo.
I will watch it online if I feel like it.
I'll do Hustlers the same way I do K-pop music. So you can pretty much figure that out.
Okay. Any last thoughts? Any more thoughts about the video? About anything that we discussed? Jay, you have any last thoughts?
They could have done something else. Really, I don't understand why they didn't do anything else besides this. I mean, and like I said before, like this really worked more so for Becky G because this is like more her style. With J Hope, it's just like I'm not surprised that he did what he did because that's just how K-pop is. So I'm not surprised that he did it. I guess I was expecting a little bit more from Becky G, and that's it. I mean, I don't know. I hope that nobody else tries to pick another song like this and redo it because it's gonna be trash. Do something else, please, please.
BTS has been telling us since 2018. You can't call them artists. You can't call them idol. They are who they are, and they are not gonna change. Uh, they said it out of their own mouth.
So BTS can't be nominated anymore for any of the Korean awards. That's great. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean,
17, now's your chance.
oh my, 17 just deserves all the awards, like for real, for real. So talented.
They have a new song out, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
we watched it last week, I think.
And it really talent. You don't understand how much. Like, I think sometimes when people like get trapped in sort of the K-pop bubble for so long, they forget how important talent is.
True.
It changes everything, like for real. That's why when I discovered Day 6 like a couple weeks ago, whenever I posted it on our Instagram, I was like pleasantly surprised. It reminded me of everything that I used to get out of like my alternative rock phase and like my punk rock phase.
The 2000s, the 2000s were great.
Yeah, the 2000s are great. I'm gonna be real. I still love me some Paramore. I still love Mayday Parade. I still love some of those songs from that time, like from All Time Low, All American Rejects. Like I really listen to some of those songs still. But they just reminded me that like you don't have to do whatever it is Chicken Noodle Soup was in order to like have like, you know what I mean? Okay, they are successful, but I think they're successful. But I can see why they're not as successful because they don't dance or whatever, but they play instruments, so that's like a good substitute.
People in Korea keep complaining about K-pop idols being untalented, but then you have talented idols and talented artists and they don't support them. So what's the truth?
Yeah. I mean, dance is a talent. Don't get me wrong. It's a talent that most people don't have. But at the same time, it's a talent that most idols still don't have. So it's just like,
I mean, Cupcake didn't lie. I mean, she really didn't. They just got mad.
Well, if you ever want to, okay, you know what? I was gonna say something really rude, but never.
No, say it.
I was like,
she didn't lie.
Every time I think about idols dancing, I think about that cut clip of Chunga on Produce 101, where like every time she does like one move, it flashes to somebody in the audience going, "Oh, ooh!" And it's like it's literally like
so easily impressed.
8 seconds of her dancing in a 40-second clip, and it's just reactions from other people, like, them playing back the same move.
That is so funny.
Because the thing is, people like K-pop groups have real dancers, but because the other group members can't dance, they don't get to really show that they are dancers out like in the group dances. If you know
yeah.
So a lot of times they lose the talent if they don't like regularly do their own thing and like freestyle and whatever, right? They lose that natural born talent because instead of doing their own thing, they're doing what everybody else is doing and not
two-step.
Exactly. And you know, the two-step and the body roll. That's all they're doing.
That's it.
One
or
of
they put an Edon and they see walking out here.
That video for was a mess. Like everybody, I think the thing that got me a lot with the current conversations about Chicken Noodle Soup was that one of the biggest or one of the most popular translation accounts had just dragged G Idol or whatever for that ethnic hip thing.
Right?
Like she made a thread. Right? She made a thread, you know, talking in English and in Korean about how, you know, cultural appropriation is bad. And then when it came to Chicken Noodle Soup and the conversations Black fans were having, she made one tweet and then poof, away. And it's like, you really do need to keep this energy. You can't just be like, oh, okay, My guy's messed up, but he messed up with love, and he's seen a black person before in
You've
person.
seen a black person in person.
You know, like, I don't know, because I, again, very nosy, so I've seen so much. I don't see anyone canceling J-Hope. I see people
At
kind of
all.
No.
boggling.
No.
You know, like,
No
they're like,
way.
what is this? This is bad, or this isn't my thing, or this hurts me. But no one's going, well, you should never make music again. No one's saying that BTS deserves to lose all of their awards. No one's saying any of that. People are hurt, they're frustrated, maybe they're angry, but they're not like, well, end of
Cancel.
BTS.
No.
They're trying to figure out how to stan or unstan this group. And yet it's being treated like an attack, and it's primarily like, it's really weird to be in this space where black fans are ignored, but also black fans are the people attacking J-Hope somehow.
It's
Like, we don't exist,
there's
white
no
people
such
are the ones talking, but also
there's no such thing as logic when you're dealing with a lot of these people. They only see what they want to see. Like, the whole idea of constructive criticism being hate, absolutely, like, it's just nonsense. And as you said, like, you can give them as many receipts as you want, they're still going to be 1000% pushing that crazy ass agenda that don't make no sense anyways. And so, like, at the end of the day, it's like, for me, on Twitter, I block people for the most part.
I love
Yeah.
blocking
Like,
people.
It's my favorite hobby.
I go in and I'm like, okay, well, you know, this is on my dash. This is nonsense. Or I'll be looking for something about an artist, whatever, and I'll see, you know, these kind of tweets. And I'm just like, block, 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 block. Because there's no reason for me to waste my time, my finite amount of time on this planet arguing with dummies. I mean, maybe 10 years ago, I would have been right there arguing with these people. But now I'm just like, there's no purpose. They don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And J-Hope is gonna do what J-Hope wants to do. Like, when he braids, before, I think this was like a previous incident.
My job?
Sorry?
Are you talking about my job?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't really follow BTS like that, but I saw the pictures and I saw people making comments about him and the braids from before, and he looked really proud to have that hair, and he looked like he didn't give a shit. And I don't think he apologized, though. To be honest, BTS, I don't think they've ever apologized for anything outside of Ratman apologizing for plagiarism. And that's another thing.
He's like apologizing. His apologies, A, aren't that great, and B, don't cover the rest of the group. It's not a group project.
No, but also too, like, I mean, to spin off of that, like, a lot of people always want to say, like, oh, they've learned their lesson, they are doing better, this was like so long ago. And I'm like, first of all, like, knowing Korean culture, knowing that these people like shave off their heads and they do deep bows and they go into reflection whenever they mess up, you're gonna tell me that they've apologized? What is this? This is not an apology. This is like pretty much just them ignoring the problem, and people, or doing a general like, oh, you know, like, things in my past that I regret, that I wish I didn't do.
He never actually apologized for like his hair. He was just like, I know why people were really angry at us. That's not an apology. You get that we were roasting you. But like, not enough to like guarantee that it'll never happen again.
No, like, most of these people, it is very rare for a K-pop idol to come out and say, look, I did exactly this, you know, when it comes to Black issues, obviously, I did exactly this, and I shouldn't have done exactly this, and I apologize, I will do better. I don't think I've actually ever seen that. Now that I think
when it
about
comes to the Black issues, or in general?
Black issues, not in general, because, you know, if they insult white people, they're right there front and center apologizing. Or if they like,
or if they're seen with a girl, they're apologizing. I said, or if they're seen with a girl.
Exactly. But like,
I will say, I have seen an idol apologize for something that was insensitive.
Was it the noodle?
That particular idol did not. It wasn't against Black people.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think. Like, no, there was an idol group that screwed up. I don't know if it was J-Friend. Was it J-Friend with the hair?
Mama apologized for the blackface.
Okay.
Well, brown face, that was probably blackface because nobody seems to get that Bruno Mars isn't black.
No, he's not.
Yeah, but why do people think?
So,
Well, you know, I know why. I don't know why I even said that. Of course, I know why.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he's brown.
Exactly. But I mean, okay, let's see. Count. Can you? Maybe that's one. I think G Friend, when they had that whole fake Rasta thingy, like lock. I think they did that like, or maybe it was Oh My Girl. I don't know. One of those groups did it on like an idol show,
Sure.
and I think they apologized outright for that.
Dreamcatcher did. They had an incident
It was
with
Dreamcatcher.
with the
Yes.
wig. Yeah.
Yes.
His whole name's a hot mess, though.
That name is a
But-
hot mess. Yeah.
And it sucks because like I want to love their concepts, and it's like your name.
Oh yeah.
Pains
No,
me.
I'm. Yeah.
I think maybe one of the multiple members of Super Junior that have done blackface may have
Oh,
apologized.
No.
Super Junior is the worst
Nope.
K-pop group to ever debut. I'm sorry.
They
They're
have
so-
not apologized.
No.
I think what's his name? The actor guy, the main acting guy who's supposed to be the
The one
Sorry?
who was like, oh, sorry. Never mind.
no, it starts with an S. I can't remember. He's the one who
Oh.
yeah. Remember when he made those homophobic comments? He tried to
Yeah.
I think he did apologize for it, but he also follows Trump, so I don't know. Like there's no truth there. So
That's a choice.
That's
yeah.
Trump
No.
definitely doesn't want to follow him, but you know.
Yeah, Super Junior is I mean Lee Took himself is like gross.
He's a garbage can.
Yeah, gross. Shin Dog, the chubby
Weird.
one says he won't.
Well, that
date
whole thing where
chubby
he was-
girls.
yeah,
it's
like-
weird.
like look in a mirror, my man.
I know.
You are not a cat.
Perfectly
what
okay
makes-
for Korean men to be
Sloths.
basically fat.
Slovenly, ugly.
Like I am comfortable in my chunkiness, and like I'm not gonna let like my niece she used to be like really obsessed, and I don't understand how. She's 13. I don't understand what Super Junior holds for her, but she was like really invested in them. And then I was like, to return the favor of you guys constantly, showing me horrible things that my idols have done, here's a list of why Super Junior is problematic. And I read them to her and I showed her the pictures, and she was like, what? Oprah? What? Yeah, because he did blackface as Oprah.
Like,
And as Nick Fury.
The other dude did Nick Fury,
Yeah.
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 So, and then someone else did like a Lawrence of Arabia kind of thing, which
Yep.
like it's all three of Trudeau's blackface instances in
how
one
come
group.
they haven't disbanded yet? Like, I've been on this Super
Because
Junior.
they've rejuvenated, they've been reborn as a Latin group. So
Yeah, they're Latin pop group
that's
now.
their quarter now.
I mean, they don't even chart in Korea anymore. They just go around the world making money off their tours.
What?
Yeah. Like that's what they do
They're
now.
so big in Latin America. K-pop in general is huge in Latin America, but especially like the second gen groups, Suju being the main one.
Well, Brazil is like a huge market.
Why?
They'll
You would
stand
think it would-
anybody.
They will.
That's-
They will.
They'll stand anybody.
You said who
That's
stands
why.
anybody?
Yeah.
They will.
You know,
Anybody that's got light colored skin.
yeah, pretty much. Look at those South American countries love CW shows. Like love. And I remember when I was into TVD and they went to Brazil and they did all these like cons, and like the Brazilian fans are actually as racist as the white folk. Like it's exactly the same thing, just in a different language.
Well, because a good portion of, what people fail to realize about, not you guys, but what people fail to realize about like Latin American countries, I think people have this idea that they all look like, okay, this is not my opinion. I think a lot of people think this though, that every single person who speaks Spanish looks like a person who comes from Mexico, without realizing that you can be like Afro-Latina and you can be white Latina, which is what J-Lo is. You can be white Latina, and people just like I feel like I really hate when Latinas be like, I can say the N-word because I'm Latina, and I'm like, you're white though, like you're not.
Yeah, look at Adrienne Bailon. She did that like DNA test, and she was so surprised to see that she was like mostly white. And I'm just like, girl, look at you. Are you kidding me? Are you stupid? But even speaking about like Latin people being racist, there was with all these discussions, some Latino girl wrote the word for lynch in Spanish on top of criticism of J-Hope. and then
Okay.
tried to be like, "Oh, you guys don't get it. I'm not trying to say that." Oh, and try to gaslight.
Oh, this is the second time this has happened then in K-pop fandom recently because someone else wrote like a whole um we should lynch this person sentence on top of someone else's criticism to a black fan. And then when the black fan was like, I have Google Translate.
Yeah.
I know
Like I'm not.
they were like, in my country, we don't do that to black people. Surely you must, since
Yeah.
you are saying it to one.
Well, I
It's
remember
2020.
too when remember that whole thing happened with Taeyeon and Wiz Khalifa
Right?
Yeah,
at the
that's hilarious.
Mamas or whatever. I remember there being like somebody photoshopped a picture of Wiz like as a slave wrapped around like this boat thingy, and Taeyeon was like the master with the whip, and it was actually a brown person from India who was spreading that around, and it was crazy because then they tried to be like, oh, I didn't know, I didn't understand, I just saw it, and I was so mad at Wiz that I put it up, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, you are a dirty bitch. Shut the
Yeah.
fuck up and delete your account. You know, like it was
It just
like,
reminds me of how people are like caping about the Kunta Kinte situation with. I think I'm not going to say these things as fact, allegedly, because I don't know for sure, but allegedly, JB from Got7 named his dog Kunta Kinte.
Mm.
And people were saying you're mocking something that's like slavery oriented. People were saying, "Oh, people in Korea don't know about slavery." I'm like,
yeah, they do.
yes, they do. Like, if they don't know anything else about Black history, they know that. They literally it's in their curriculum. Like, it's not something that is just like hidden from the world. Like, I don't know why y'all think this. So don't sit up here and try to tell me, person who made a lynching joke, that you had no clue what lynching was or that it was relevant to Black people's plight, and that you made that joke about a Black person, but you wouldn't have made that same joke about a white person. Come on now.
The thing that kills me about all of this is that what would Korea be without the U.S. Army? The U.S. Army that employs tons of Black people who are listed
Don't
there
get me started.
working.
You know I'm a history.
Okay.
buff. Don't get me
Look,
started.
I have so much beef because like to bring up TK Park again, who hopefully doesn't know I exist, his whole argument that why K-pop can't appropriate Black culture is he basically acted like when the Korean War started, like Black people got off the boat with boomboxes playing Grandmaster Flash and forced Koreans to spit rhymes.
That's stupid.
You know, like that idea, like, yes, US imperialism and culture is a problem. But he directly is like one of the words he wrote. Like if you I have a video and it's like 50 minutes long because I was mad, but he's talking about how like at one point he's like, if you care so much about cultural appropriation, why don't you go back in time and stop US imperialism? Or stop GIs from playing American music
I'm
so
Black.
that
Yeah, right.
well,
Like,
yeah,
not
so,
white.
like,
What do you want me to do about that?
oh, you know, so his whole thing, like, so, like, I literally, I was so angry, I called a white friend to yell. Think about that. I called a white person to yell about a Korean's anti-Blackness. I was that mad. And I was like, if I had a time machine, no shit, I would end US imperialism because I would not have the US because I'm Black. You know, but like this idea that Black people are the reason Black people aren't liked, essentially, or Black people like that idea of cultural appreciation as a problem that we started. Like, of course, J Hope, Taeyeon, everybody everywhere has to be Black in their music is because the US. Okay, that's not how that works.
Yeah, like I don't get why people. I've heard the argument before. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's like, did you forget the whole entire part of this conversation when Black people were forced like to assimilate to white people's standards? Did you forget about that whole entire portion of our history and how we were not the agents of imperialism? That was white people.
Oh, but we got Black Panther and the BET Awards, so
Yeah,
we
so
are privileged.
oh, I really hate that. I hate the idea. Oh my goodness, people saying, "Well, if you guys have this, and this, and you guys have representation now, so you should be standing up for us to get the representation." And I'm like, okay, I don't really mind necessarily like standing, like using my voice to help others. What I do mind is you telling me that it's a requirement because you suddenly think I have privilege now. How about
Especially,
you do it for yourself?
okay, and these are going to be hot takes, especially when the Koreans, for the most part, have locked Black people out of the Black hair industry, making them close all their stores because they want to make all the money off of us, but they don't want to give us any power or autonomy when it comes to our own beauty standards. Or when you have these Asian delegations who have joined with some of the Republicans to fight. What's that thing called? Affirmative action, because apparently it impedes on, because of affirmative action, I guess all the Blacks are getting in instead of the Asians. Yes, because it was Asian people, along with Black people who were pushing, along with white people who were pushing that, white women are the ones who are the majority of the people who benefit from affirmative action. Word, sorry. And so it's kind of just like, you kind of point out all of these things, or like in some New York schools where now they're trying to even the playing field so that people like basically Latinos and like poor Latinos and poor Black people can go to some of these schools. They're fighting against that because they feel like it takes from their spots. And so you have all these examples in history of anti-Blackness from predominantly Asian cultures and East Asians, because let's not even talk about the rest of the Asias, the Asians who have discriminated against Black people. But we're just talking about East Asians in the States alone. People who are only in the States because of civil rights that Black people died for, mind ya. So it's kind of like, you take a look at all of this crap, you're just like, why are you even speaking? Like, why are you even thinking that you're contributing to anything at all? Like, at this point. And I mean, like, you want to have your own Black Panther or your own, Beyonce, make it, do it. I will definitely, like, honestly, I don't mind, like, as Jimin was saying, like, I don't mind using my platform to talk about other people, other issues, things that have nothing to do with me that I think that are important. I have no problem doing that. But as soon as you open your mouth and say, like, oh, you got BT, we need to have our own, like, why are you even mentioning BT? Like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Why is it that whenever something good happens to Black people, it's like, oh, well, it happened to you, so now it has to happen to us. Yeah, why don't you go and make your own lane instead of
it is
riding rough on ours? Sorry.
The hot take is brewing. I have to say, what it is, it's because oh man, this is such a hot take. And this is I don't know how I feel about saying this. I'll go ahead and say it. The reality of it is you think you deserve it more than I do. That's what it comes down to.
I absolutely believe that as well.
That's why you feel like if we have it, that why don't I have it? Because you feel like you deserve it more than I do. Because for some reason, your rights and your liberties as a free person are more important than mine.
And then on top of that, like, the thing that really, really frustrates me, and this is something that I had to work through, like a while ago, but it's about the fact that people think that because of white supremacy, people think that there is limited room at this table, and if a Black person gets it, then Asians don't get it, or Latinos don't get it, or like other people don't get it, and it's all a form of white supremacy. So imagine what we could do if every person of color on this planet was like, fuck white supremacy, and actually took back our shit, number one, got the reparations that we deserve, number two, and pretty much started to take ownership and autonomy and dismantle all of these systemic institutions that are built pretty much to put us at the bottom and to keep us fighting like frankly morons. Like there's like it's kind of like what rich people do to poor people. Rich people take all this money and they make all these poor people think that it's the poor people's fault that they're poor.
They're
Like,
poor.
what? Are you even kidding me? Like,
It's because you didn't do this, and this with your money.
Yeah,
You didn't invest properly. What am I going to invest? I got 2 pennies. What you want me to invest?
it's like, you guys like people saw Black Panther and like it became a movement, it became this huge thing, and everybody was so into it. And then talking about like, oh, why don't we should have our own Black Panther, and it's like, dude, why are you getting mad at us? We have the one movie. There is Ant-Man, Spider-Man, there is Iron Man, there's Thor.
Back to even our conversation about the Little Mermaid. You remember that whole debacle?
Yes.
But then when it came to campaigning for Jimin to be Prince Eric, suddenly I can't see no more. I can't read no more. I don't know. Like it's suddenly like, come on now. It's so transparent.
So annoying.
Well, on that note, are we ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, I feel like we've been all over the place.
I know, like this, man, what is going on with us? Like we always start off just having fun. It's jokes, it's fun and games. And then all of a sudden, like it becomes like African American history combined with like, I don't know. It's like we suddenly become PhDs. I don't know what it is.
You know what? And that's just touching on African American stuff. Like I didn't even talk about what's happening in Canada, what's happening in Jamaica right now, and like all this other stuff that's going on, which is pretty much just shit. Like at the end of the day, I mean, the dude that I'm probably going to vote for has done blackface twice and brownface once, but because he is still the better option, I do have to vote for him because his literal, like the other dude who could potentially win, who we just found out lied about being an insurance broker and for whatever reason, actually looks like a demon. So it's kind of like, and he compared gay people to dogs recently, and so it's kind of like there's so much shit going on here. And then talking about like what's happening in Jamaica with the infrastructure and how it's completely funded by China at this point, like which is what's going on in Africa. And how they use those loans to pretty much take over and
act like starting to get into that too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and how like this subtle like Asian imperialism is slowly starting. And where do they target? They target the African and the Black countries first.
Let's talk about imperialism, K Tiger person who was talking to our new friend here.
So, I mean, there's so much going on in general. It's kind of the idea, and we could talk forever, but we are not going to because it is late and it's Monday night.
I have to keep it real with y'all. I gotta go.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
work tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it was a great discussion. Thank you to everyone that watched us tonight. And by the way, we will be posting the audio from this onto our SoundCloud. So anybody that missed the live stream or just doesn't really go on YouTube can also listen to it, an edited version. And of course, you can always drop by and give us your thoughts about the discussion, your opinions on NYA Netizens on Twitter, our Facebook on Not Your Average Netizens, our Instagram at Not Your Average Netizens, and our Gmail at notyouraverage.netizens@gmail.com. And thank you guys. I want to thank Stitch again for Zena for coming and being a part of our discussion.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it was really great.
Yes. I'm back again.
Yes.
Look, let me talk shit about Jay Park and I'm in.
Of course. Our whole platform is dedicated to trashing Jay Park.
Trashing Jay Park. Yes. And yes, absolutely. Anybody have any shout outs? Just right before you leave.
Shout out to my girl Jessica, who just dropped a track and completely ignored it to go to Fashion Week in Paris while she's being sued for over $1 million. So, shout out to people who just live in their best life, don't care. They got more money, but no problems. So shout out to her.
Any others?
Yes. Shout out to Duke. What a Caucasian King. We can't wait to hear your new mixtape. Yeah, just keep having that long hair. Never cut that hair.
Yeah, it looks
No,
good. It looks good
never
still.
keep it. It works for you. Okay. Any others? All right. Well, again, thank you guys for listening. It's been great. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
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 Late.
I'm all late.
Late.
Bye.
Sorry, I had